Welcome to Ask the Edmonds Cop. I'm Teresa Whipple, back with the wonderful Shane Hawley. Hello.
Wow. I wasn't expecting that one.
Well, you know, we've been doing this for a while.
A long time,
I guess
yes.
a little appreciation every once in a while doesn't
all right.
hurt. You know, this is an interesting topic because we recently on My Edmonds News had a story about some state law that requires state agencies and police departments and others to start, and city agencies, to start converting their fleets to electric vehicles when practical is
or other fuels.
Or other
and so
fuels,
forth,
non-gasoline fuels.
Yeah.
And it raised the question in your mind, we were talking about doing this, about what is the police department doing with their vehicles, and you said that they all run on propane, right?
Yeah, little known fact, and people come across it. In fact, it was funny how all that study came out, and you did some articles on it, and some other local media have touched on it. And I was doing a school tour, and one of the parents was like, there's a propane sticker on the back of your car. In fact, we got a graphic which shows it.
Right.
And they're kind of like, do your cars use propane? And the answer is yeah. We've been doing that since 2012 is when we started. Our fleet manager started retrofitting all the cars. And then we finished in about March of 2013. And our graphic actually, we have a picture of the propane tank. They sit in the back of the cars. And this was started when we had a whole fleet of Crown Victorias.
Right.
So they were in the trunk, and now they're in the back hatch, basically, of the new Ford SUVs that we have. And you can see they're fairly large. I mean, they take up a chunk of space. I mean, that's valuable real estate with all of the stuff we have, we just work around them. They're super secure back there. Even in rear-end collisions, they don't explode or anything like that.
That's good to know.
Well, that was a concern for a lot of our, people, but they're safe. They're super thick. There's a conversion kit that is essentially installed in each of the engines to allow them to run off propane. And then there's a switch installed so we can turn it on or off.
So you could use regular fuel if you wanted to?
Correct. And they don't run strictly off of propane. They still have the original gas tank. And so we have essentially 2 fuel tanks in each of our cars. They start on gasoline. And when the engine reaches a certain temperature, then it will automatically kick over and the propane will start running.
Okay, so it's sort of like a hybrid idea, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Just
And
not
we
with
can
an
switch
electric
back and
vehicle.
forth. We got
Yeah.
a little button down by the steering wheel, so if we want to turn the propane off and go to only gas, we can do that. And we really don't notice much performance difference between the propane and the gasoline.
Got it.
So it's not like it's noticeably slower or shifts different. I mean, it's just a different fuel source.
Yeah.
And there's some of the reasons we did this. One was cost. We get the propane on contract at about $1.50 a gallon.
Wow.
Yeah, and I don't know if you filled up recently.
I have, and it wasn't $1.50 a gallon.
No, it's not. And
Yeah.
and we have our own fuel pumps. All of our city fleet runs off. We have our own dedicated fuel pumps.
So you don't have to go to the gas station.
We don't have to go to the gas station. It's delivered. We just poke a code in, and there's a key card for each vehicle, so it's all tracked. And we also have our own propane fill-up station. So,
nice.
like, if you were to go and get your propane tank filled for your barbecue or whatever, it's a big, giant propane tank.
Yeah.
And it looks just like a gas nozzle. It attaches to the side of the vehicle. It secures there, and you just pull a nozzle and it fills up your tank, and it stops when it's full, and you pull the handle again and it pops off, and that's it.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
it's
great.
kind of interesting. I know people want to know, why, what's the emissions difference, all that sort of stuff. It's about 8 to 9% less CO2 emissions running off of propane
Okay,
compared to gasoline.
got it.
Okay, and we talked about it being cheaper. So it is slightly less fuel efficient. So we don't get quite as good a gas mileage, but the cost offset is so dramatic with the price of propane
Yeah.
versus gas that's negligible. I mean, we're still money ahead as far as running the fleet. And the interesting thing is when we switched over to the SUVs, they actually get better gas mileage, a couple miles per gallon better than the Crown Victorias did.
Okay.
So across the board, we think we're doing pretty good as far as the police fleet goes.
Right.
And switch over. And there's hardly anybody doing this.
Really?
Yeah. We
You're
don't.
kind of a pioneer in the state or in the nation?
Well, I don't know if I'd go nationwide, but
In the
there's
state.
not a lot.
Yeah.
And for Western Washington, there's maybe only a couple.
Huh.
Yeah,
Very
and
good.
really nobody in Snohomish County, at least for the police fleet.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. And I guess that probably does address, because you do have the ability to switch back and forth,
Correct.
it probably does address the main concern that I heard when I was doing some research on the electric vehicle story, which is that police departments really don't see electric vehicles at this point as an option just because of they don't have the performance capabilities. If you're chasing a criminal in a high-powered car, you don't want to be in an electric car, right?
Yeah, so I wrote this down and said, there's not really any good electric vehicle option because I don't think that we'd get a budget for Teslas.
You don't?
Yeah, I don't know. At 100,000
right.
a pop, that may
Yeah,
be a bit
you're probably
excessive. Might be fun. I mean,
Yeah.
those things can get up and go.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily our main concern. We need a big vehicle.
Right.
We have so much equipment now,
That's true.
and we just need a big car. That's why we did the SUV route. If you look in the back of the trunk, we have shields and there's cones and all sorts of stuff. A lockout kit for when you lock yourself out of the car. Trunk space is huge. And, we get in wearing all of this and a gun belt and all this sort of stuff. And most of the electric cars, like the Teslas, they're sports cars.
Yeah.
And, they sit 6 inches off the ground. Try getting in and out with this stuff all the day. And where would you put a prisoner?
I was just going to say, where did the criminals go?
Yeah, it's bad enough in the back of the SUV. That's a lot easier. But try and get, someone who's 6'4", 250 pounds with their hands handcuffed behind their back in and out of a car in an efficient manner that's easy for them and easy for us as well. Or if somebody fights, how you really going to get them in the car?
Right.
So we think this is a really good option. We've been really happy with it so far and feel like it's kind of in line with what that law says.
Very good. Well, and Edmonds has been a leader in a lot of environmental fronts, and plastic bag ban, just are starting a ban on straws and all that stuff. So just another thing the city's doing, I guess, to do their part. So thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back again soon with another episode of Ask the Edmonds Cop.